Good morning, my friend. Today I am with a little aquaponics system. You know that a few months ago I bred the trout in the aquaponics system, in the holistic aquaponics system. And today they are in this very small setup. At the beginning I just wanted to stock them because I'm selling those fish. And I wanted to stock them in a very small recycled unit. So I built this. It's made out of a water tank, fish tank, let's say, and a little grow bed on the top. And I thought, why not add a few plants, which I did, which is great. However, I didn't take care of it too much, and I knew that I couldn't feed the fish too much neither, because the quantity of filtration is extremely limited here. So I left it like this, but recently I found that we have an issue on the brook trout. So I'm going to show you how they look like. You can see that there is some fungus growing on some of those little brook trout. And then I thought, what could be the issue? And of course they can be stressed because they are in this type of sieve, which is not great for those fish. You know, they would need a bit more space to feel more relaxed. Also there is noise, the sieve is often moving, so the fish are definitely stressed. And therefore when the fish is stressed, is using a lot of energy and is decreasing his ability to fight against any disease. So that's one thing, but then I thought there is probably a problem in my water, because in my normal holistic aquaponics system I constantly maintain the pH. I had some products in the water, such as potassium hydroxide or baking powder, to maintain the pH. However, in this unit I haven't done this. It's a mistake that I made, basically. I didn't check the pH. And I thought today I would check the pH, which is what I did. So here is the pH of the water. And well, if you take the chart, you know when you do your pH check, you got this color chart, and it's clearly saying that it is very low. It's actually around 6. So it's way too low for the fish, and it can affect the mucus of the fish and the gills as well. And that's exactly what we see. We see that the fish has got some big issue on the mucus. If I don't do something very quickly, some fish are going to start to die. So one thing I should do is to release the fish in the big tank, and that would remove or decrease the stress they have. However, I still want to be able to catch those fish when I need them. So I don't want to do that. So I have to first balance my pH, and to do that I think I'm going to use some potassium hydroxide. So here I put some here in this water, mixed a bit of this potassium hydroxide. It's basically some crystals. That's how it looks like. I don't know if you see much, but yeah, that's what it looks like. So I put some in a little bit of water here, and I just want to test the pH, because of course the pH here is very alkaline, extremely high, and that's the aim of this product, yeah? So what I want is to increase the pH here, but I don't want to create a big stress to the fish. It would be an issue if I increase the pH too fast. So I have a bit of rainwater here in this bucket. That's the rainwater I collect from this roof. And I'm going to test it right now to check what the pH like. So I guess the pH in the rainwater tank is also very low. It should be close to 6, 6.5. I don't think it's at 7. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I don't see any reaction. So I guess we are very close to 6. It should be very close to what we have in the tank, actually, in the fish tank. You see? We don't see much variation. There might be a bit. The rainwater is maybe not as acidic as what I have in the fish tank, but extremely close. I don't see any difference, to be honest. So what I will do now, I have here a bucket of water. I will add a bit of potassium hydroxide into it, and then I will test the pH, because I want the pH to be high but I don't want it to be crazy high. So if I take my high range pH test solution, which I normally don't use much in aquaponics, but here it's important because we are working with a very low volume, so I don't want to make a mistake. If I create a pH shock, it might kill all the fish. So sometimes you try to fix an issue, but you get it worse. And here it's a perfect illustration why I don't recommend anyone to work with small aquaponic system. They are the worst to take care of. On a big aquaponic system, you got a big buffer effect. So whatever you do, you don't have that much reaction, you know, like how to say, the variations are not as extreme in a big aquaponic system. While in a small aquaponic system, the smallest thing you do, the smallest factor will have a big impact on the whole water quality. So you need to be very careful when you manage a small aquaponic system. Hence, I don't recommend anyone to work with those type of small things. I do it because I have a bit of experience with aquaponics, obviously, and it's kind of a limited time. But you know, you see what I am doing right now. It's the type of thing that I don't want to do every day. I don't want to take care of an aquaponic system every day. An aquaponic system should be reliant. My big aquaponic system, I understand how it moves, I understand how it reacts, and the work involved is extremely low there. So now let me see high range pH, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, it seems to be very high, the pH here. When you see this reacting this way, it's still very high. So what I will do, here I added a bit of hydrogen peroxide here, a bit of potassium hydroxide here. Actually it's a lot. So this, I will use it in my big aquaponic system because I always need to add some to maintain the pH high. It's always a bit low. So I will use it later, but now here I have rainwater, and the rainwater is extremely high. So what I will do, I will take some of this water, I will empty half of it in the big aquaponic system, we'll come back and dilute it with new rainwater until I arrive at a pH around 8, which is here, you see? So you see the color I should have is this one, and what I have at the moment is that. So you see there is a big work to do here. So I will go and empty this, or empty half of it, or maybe 2/3 of it. Okay, so I am back. I diluted it in the pond, so I put 2/3 of it in the pond, and I fill the rest with new water from the pond, which the water from the pond is always also a little bit acidic. I needed to raise the pH. So now I will do a new test here and see where we are. Okay. So now I will add my high pH test range. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It still reacts extremely, so I believe we are still very high. It is still super high. So I will do the same thing, I will still dilute this. If I had another bucket, it would be easier. Yeah, I will use this. Okay, I have some water here. I will now take some of this liquid and add it here, there. And I will do this slowly. Okay. And now I will do the test of the pH there. High range pH, 5 drops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here I can see a massive difference. I shake it. And now I can see that we are around 7.8. I would say 7.8 approximately. But what I would do to double check that, I will take my low range pH. Because you know how those tests are, you know, with time, the chart here fades out with the UV and it's very hard to read it. So I still want to take my low range pH and make sure I reach the maximum of the low range pH scale. I hope this makes sense, or everything I'm saying to you. So I take my pH, I add 3 drops. 1, 2, 3. And actually I am only at 6.6 here. So you see I can add more. I can add more solution there. Okay. Now I take my high range pH, my low range. I will do another test of low range pH again. Here we are, 3 drops, 1, 2, 3. Here, I don't know if I put 3 drops or 2 actually. Oh my god, let's see. Here I can see a strong reaction, so of course now the pH is very high. I mean, it's too high to me. Oh my god, we have to play a lot with those things, yeah? So I'm gonna take my high range pH again. Do another high range pH test. Five drops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It doesn't look too bad, to be honest. Still purple, still high, but not as high as I had before. So I guess now I'm not too bad. So what we need to understand is that pH is a logarithmic scale. Yeah. So when you go from pH of 7 to pH of 8, 8 is 10 times more alkaline than the pH at 7. So now what I will do, I will take some of this water, but instead of putting it in the fish tank, I will put it here in contact with the bacteria. Bacteria love high pH, the bacteria that we want to select. It might have an impact on the plant if you add too much of it. So it's even better to dilute it again when you add it into the water. Up, like this for instance. And I put it here. So to be honest, if it has an impact on the plant, that's not good for sure. But in the same time, I don't mind as much as for the fish. I really want my fish to be healthy. So when you are working with big volumes of water, you have time to do this. But on a small one, you can quickly make a mistake. The best thing to do normally is to take a bowl and to drill a hole inside and to let it drop. I will see if I have a container that I can use for this purpose. Okay, I found this little container. That's something where you buy mushrooms inside, which is something completely crazy nowadays, because when you buy your food, you can't buy the food without the plastic in some shops, which I really hate. But anyway, that's not the purpose. Here I'm going to drill a very small hole and I'm going to sit something here. So it's going to drop very slowly and it's not going to make a massive impact on the fish, and I'm going to monitor the pH as it goes to make sure that it doesn't go too high. So let me drill a hole in this. Okay, I made a hole. It's a very tiny one, just on the corner. And how will I position that? I need a piece of wood. This is probably gonna do the job. like that. Sounds pretty good. Let me see. So I'm gonna add some here, and I'm gonna add some water, so I'll dilute it as well, so that there is no real issue. Yeah, I think it's pretty good. So let me show you how it works. Here you see. So this pipe has nothing to do with, I just put it here as a, just because I need to put it somewhere, but yeah, here's my water with high pH, and it's slowly coming here. So it's not gonna make a massive, how to say, a massive shock to the fish, you know. Fish are fine. Yeah, that's great. So I have all this to pass through, so it's gonna take me a while, and at least it's not gonna make a shock on the fish. What I also want to do, and that's the other thing we need to do to make sure our fish are good, is to do a salt bath to our fish. So we could use different products. In the past, the aquaculture used to use malachite green, but it's toxic, it's carcinogen as well, so we don't want to use that, of course. One of the things you can use is methylene blue, or then there are other products that I used to have in the fish farms I used to work for, such as formaldehyde, formalin, and other products as well. But what I will do here, I want to work only with salt. And of course I don't add any salt in the system. The salt I will add is in a bucket. So I will prepare another bucket, for instance this one, and I'm going to put some water and 10 grams of salt per water, swimming pool salt. Once it's ready, I will dip the fish, the sieve basically, inside for a few minutes, or I can go up to an hour, but I have to keep an eye on the fish. So we'll see. We shouldn't see any big difference. I can see one fish is probably going to die. This one here is definitely not going well at all. Actually, there are two of them that are really well affected. It's quite sad. Some of them are still very healthy, but if I leave it like this, it's not going to be good. Okay, so let me prepare the salt bath. Okay, so the solution is dropping. I'm going to do some pH check very soon. However, right now I need to have a volume of water, and I'm thinking of this bucket because it's a 20-liter bucket. However, this is full of the first concentration I did, so I'm going to drop this bucket there. Yeah, I'm going to drop this bucket into one of the other big containers I have. Oh. It's quite heavy. Yep. Dropped it, and I'm going to rinse it because this is it was quite high pH, so I don't want to. Okay, I rinsed it, and now I will fill this with the water from this tank, and then I will add the salt. I have the salt here, which is swimming pool salt, you know, salt that you can buy that is made for swimming pool. It's very cheap. And I will fill this bucket with water now. If I can use a siphon, that's even easier, but I don't know if I have one handy here. I would say probably not. I have one, but it's super small, super slow, very slow. This one. Actually, the fact that it's low, it's not such a bad thing, because it will give me time to do some pH tests in the tank. So let me start the siphon and we will let it work on the side. Okay, siphon is on. I might take this opportunity to see if I have to clean something on the bottom. No, it doesn't seem dirty at all, because I don't feed those fish much actually. And I will also do some water nitrogen tests, so ammonia, nitrite, nitrate, just to make sure the filtration is doing its job. Let me refill this one to put a bit more pressure, make sure it works. Yes, working better. So first we will start by doing another pH test. So what are we going to use? This one. Up. I don't believe the pH evolved too much at all. However, I need to check. So I take my low range pH and I have 3 drops. 1, 2, 3. Nah, doesn't seem to have moved too much yet. pH still extremely low. So that's okay from this perspective, because I still have a lot, I still have half my bucket there to go through. Let's do the nitrogen test. So I'm going to prepare 3 bottles. I just rinse them quickly, because I don't want to put any reactive in the tank. That wouldn't be a good thing. I don't know what is the impact, to be honest, but I prefer not. When I go teaching at school, I see the kids cleaning the thing into the tanks. Oh, every time it drives me crazy. It is what it is, huh? Okay, I got my 3 bottles, so I'm just gonna align them to the line. 1, 2, and 3. And now I'm going to take the reactives for the nitrogen. So start with ammonia. Ammonia, we got 2 bottles, so bottle 1, 8 drops. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This bottle is quite old. I don't like the viscosity of the fluid, of the reactive. Doesn't look good to me. Anyway, I leave it here. Sorry, I'm turning my back to you. It's not very nice. So that was bottle 1 of ammonia. I'll remove the 2 other bottles on the side. And now I will do nitrite. So nitrite, there is only 1 bottle, so it's quite an easy one. Let me refill this one. So 5 drops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh my god, so viscous. Yeah, let it sit. So that's nitrite. And now nitrate. Bottle 1, there are 2 reactives for nitrate. The siphon stopped. So 10 drops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's perfect. shaking this bottle, letting it, we leave it react. I'm just gonna restart this siphon here that is not working for now. Not really tasty. Well, I don't think there are nitrates, so that's good, but if I could have avoided, that would have been better. And I'm just gonna set this so it's not gonna stop again. I could put it here somewhere. Yes, it's good. So I can already tell I have no nitrite. That's great. Now let's check bottle 2 of ammonia. So ammonia is here. I will add another 8 drops. I don't believe we're gonna have much, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Done. I don't see much happening here, and I don't see why I would have ammonia in this tank anyway. Nitrate, maybe because the water is coming from the pond, possibly I have a bit of nitrate. So let's go for 10 of this. But anyway, I'm not thinking it's gonna be a crazy quantity anyway. It's probably not gonna be my issue on this fish. It's most likely stress and pH. Let's go for it. 10 drops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I leave it react. Okay, let's have a read of the ammonia. Ammonia is close to 0, yeah? And now for nitrate, I'm just going to wait a few more minutes. Leave it time to react fully. I'm going to refill this one. See, all this work for a small system, a very small system. When you think about it, when you work with a large system, you are way less work for a big quantity, a big production. So here to me it totally makes sense because that's baby fish. They're very valuable to me and to my customer. But if you want to make an aquaponics system, it definitely doesn't make sense to start with this because you will, excuse my French, pardon my French, but you will fuck it up. You will not be able to manage the whole system properly. So stay away from small system like this. It's cute, it looks good, but it's not efficient, it's not productive. It consumes a water pump for so small things, you know. I mean, I could work with airlift or those type of things, but at the end of the day, it's not the productive system that you can have. So now I got 20 liters of salt here. And as I said before, I want to do a salt bath to my fish that is around 10 grams of salt per liter of water. So you have to multiply 10 by 20, which gives me 200 grams. So I need 200 grams of salt. And I don't have any scale. And if you know me, you know that often I like to take shortcuts. So I would just go by, you know, by gut feeling. So I would say this is probably close to 500 grams, what I have in my hands here. And what I have here is maybe 350. So I will put maybe 2/3 of this. If there is a bit more, that's okay, because I will keep an eye on the fish. So 2/3 of this salt. That's it. I keep the rest. Now I got my concentration of salts, roughly. But I keep a visual eye on it, visual contact. I should normally add an air drop, an air stone inside, right? That's very important to make sure the oxygen level is very high. But here I'm going to stay with the fish, and I'm lazy. I don't want to transport the bucket and the camera where I have access to the air stones. So I'm going to play it this way. So the bucket is almost full. So now let me have a look at my level of nitrate. while it's still very low. On the scale it's maybe around, I don't know, maybe 10 ppm, which is, for the fish is nothing. For the plants it's good, they grow, but for the fish it's very low. So I guess I can feed them a bit more actually, seeing this, because I've been very reluctant to feed them, but looking at those results, it really looks like I could feed them a bit more, which is a good thing. But first, before feeding the fish, I need to make sure they stay alive, yeah? Otherwise, what's the point? So I will do some other pH tests. Let's do one right now. Low range pH here. 3, because why I redo the pH test is because the water with the high pH is dropping inside, so slowly it should start to increase the pH. I don't even know if I put the 3 drops here, I've been a bit fast. But it's still very low. It should turn almost bluish when it's reached 7. So I'm still on the orange side, yellow-orange, so I'm still too low. So now you see the water level is high. I'm going to stop the siphon. I say you see, but you may not see it. Can you see it or not? No, you don't see it. Okay. So what I will do, I will drop the camera up so you can see my bucket. So that's where I siphon the water, yeah? So those things... Oh, my microphone. Wow, that's been lucky. It didn't fall into the... It's been lucky it didn't fall into the water tank. So this is for my chooks. Well, just a little bracket into this video. What I do, you know, chicken, you can give them wheat, which is dry and very hard. But what you can do is to activate it. So basically you start the germination. So you put some with water, they will start to germinate slowly. And here, this one you see has started to germinate. So you can see the roots coming out. And that's where the chicken prefer it. It's a bit more tender and it's more alive, more crunchy. Anyway, that was nothing to do with what we are doing here. So I got my 20 liters of water and I got my salt inside. I want to make sure that salt is well diluted. And you understand this water is coming from the fish tank, so logically the pH is the same and the temperature, water temperature is exactly the same. Now I take my fish, my sieve with the fish, and I drop it inside. And I keep eye contact on the fish, because now it's a high concentration of salt. Those fish will definitely take it without any issue. And I can take advantage of this to remove some of those algae. So keep an eye on the fish. The water is a bit salty. I will check that. Yeah, it's a bit salty, but it's not like salt water, you know, from the sea, because the sea is at 35 grams, depending on the different oceans that you have around the planet and the different seas. You got seas that are very high in salt, but generally it's around 35 grams per liter. So this one is 10 grams per liter, and that's what fungus hate. That's what I teach my students to do. Add a bit of salt. It creates this environment that is not adapted to fungus, but it's not salt water neither. So the trout are able to live in the sea at 35 grams per liter, they will be okay. But you have to be careful at the transition when you do it. But here, 10 grams per liter, you can do it straight away like I just did. So now you need to keep an eye on them. At higher concentration of salt, the oxygen level drops. You should know that. The more minerals you have in your water, the less space there is for the salt. Basically, there is more density into the water. So here the fish will start to have some struggle to breathe. That's why normally you need to put an air stone. So I keep a very good eye contact and I really check the behavior of the fish. If I see them not going well, I'm going to put them straight back into the tank. That's one thing. I might take this opportunity to change the sieve, because I got some clean sieves on the side. It might be better. I am having a check as well at the golden trout, and they all look good. So let me see what type of other sieves I have. I do have, but where are they? That's the question. I have to find them in my organized mess. Very well organized mess. Here they are. Up, 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 up. Yeah, this one, I will use this one, is a bit better. That one. It's not like clean, but there are no algae or anything like this. Algae, or algae, depending how you pronounce it, are not an issue for the fish at all. But just because they are in a small area, in a sieve, they may breathe them and everything. I think it might be a stress relief as well to have algae, but I'm just going to try to remove them because the fish are not going well. So if it can be a factor. If it can be a factor, I prefer to remove them from it. So here, what it's doing now, the salt is making the fungus, which is a kind of mushroom that is growing on the surface of the fish. It's starting to, the fungus basically is not feeling well at all in this. It's starting to die, to decrease. So the pressure of the fungus on the fish start to decrease. So it's mainly going to clean the fish that don't have any fungus. It's going to avoid them to have any fungus starting to develop. And for the fish that have already a fungus developed, the fungus is that thick, it creates a kind of thick layer. The salt is not going to save them. It may decrease the progression of the fungus. So if you have a fish that is highly affected, such as we have two in this batch, it's probably not going to work. They might die, to be honest. But doing this plus rectifying the pH will create some good conditions in the water. And hopefully the fish will be able to get better. That's all I can hope. So I keep an eye on them. They are just like maybe 12 fish on a big volume of water. So from an oxygen perspective, that should be fine. You see, you got my 12-15 fish here. So yeah, some of them are very nice, and you can see that the salt is not affecting them. I mean, doesn't seem to affect them too much. But the fungus that is on it doesn't like this salt at all. So that's why it's quite good to do that. I'm trying to find the ones that are the most affected, and this one is really the one. This one has got a big layer of fungus on the tail. You can probably see it's a bit of whitish. That's definitely a bad thing. You really don't want that. And you can see the way it's swimming, he's struggling. This fish is struggling. It's quite sad to see. The other fish, most of them are fine, don't have much problems. Yeah, now let's have a look at the other fish. So you see my pH is dropping, is increasing hopefully, but the high pH solution is dropping into the water. I'm gonna refill it. Okay. So let's have a look at the other fish. So you see, those ones are the golden trout. I bred a few thousand of them, and I only have maybe 100 left, not even 100 here, because they've been sold. Like, people want them like crazy. They are all looking for those fish. So yeah, that's all I have left. So I'm quite happy with this. So yeah, the thing is, they look really good. They are all swimming well. So I think they are not stressed because they have a much bigger area. But that said, a low pH as it was is not a good thing. And sooner or later, it would have affected those fish as well. So what happened for those little brook trout is basically a little alarm to me that something is wrong in the tank. If I left it for a few more days, I would have lost some fish. That's 100% sure. And while we are here, I want to show you this plant. It's the first time I grow it, but apparently it has extremely good success in aquaponics. It's called kangkong, and it's called also water spinach. It's an Asian plant, and if I understand correctly, it's used in stir fry in a lot of dishes. It's supposed to be very healthy and very productive. I have to say it grows quite fast. So what I put in this system, I might add a few more plants. Here it's a beetroot. You can see it. But honestly, there is not much space for this plant here. I prefer this type of water spinach because it's going to grow a bit away from the tank. And there we got few lettuce. So we'll see how it goes, but it's very promising. I just grew it from seed. You can see the seed, it looks like this. There is still one attached to the first leaf here on the side. Yeah, and I grew a few. I put some in the other aquaponics system, in my big holistic aquaponics system, and the rest is here. And I like it. Looking good. The fish are still good. See those ones, they are going okay. And the pH, the high pH is dropping. I mean, the high pH concentration, water, is dropping into the low pH tank. So hopefully it will raise it. Okay, now the pH is starting to drop, or to increase, sorry. So let me check. Yep. Okay, I have to stop because the pH seems pretty high to me. Yeah, the pH went quite high, actually. Let me do another test. I will do a high range pH. High range pH test. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 drops. Yeah, it's not very high, but we are probably around 7.8, which is a bit too high for the trout. So what I will do, I will add a few buckets of rainwater inside to dilute a bit. So this one, I'm done with this. Now I will take some rainwater. You see, that's how it's tricky to work with small tanks, is that the pH moves very fast, from not moving to going a bit higher than you want. Not bad. Let's do a last pH check. Doesn't look bad at all. Yeah, it's probably 6.4. Let me do another one. So low range pH, 1, 2, 3. We are just on the sweet spot, I guess. Yeah, I will let it react, but to me we are not far from the 6.6. I think we are a bit low. I need to add a bit more, but we'll see. We'll let the water homogenize because of course I added some, I removed some, so it's a lot of changes. Once the pH is stabilized, we will feed the fish. I believe I can add a little bit more pH, so I will do this. Up. Just need to find where I did the hole here. Up. I will still add a bit more because it is evolving. But if it was, I would like to have it around 7. Trout like a pH slightly acidic, like very low. 7 is fine for them, no problem. 6.5 is even better, but not too low. So I was very low, I guess. Now I'm increasing the pH. Because I rectify it, I like to rectify it around 7, so it gives me a bit of buffer before it drops again, especially on this low volume. So when you feed your fish with this size of bucket, you have to be very, very gentle. Because the quantity of media is extremely low. If you remember, I generally say that we want to have maximum 1 kilo of fish per 50 liters of media. Here we might have 10 liters of media, which means that we can have 200 grams of fish. I don't have 200 grams of fish, but they are small fish, they eat a lot. So I want to be very gentle. Increasing the pH will also allow me to have a better activity of the bacteria, which will help me to have a bit more activity and feed the fish in a better way. Another pH test. Oh, I like it. We are not far from the sweet spot. I think we are at 6.6 now, which is basically exactly what the trout like. But as I said, I like to go a bit further. And as I'm doing this, I'm keeping an eye on my fish here. They look okay. You know, the little brook trout that we put in the salt. Okay, I guess now we are very close in terms of pH. We are still around 6.6, apparently. Okay, now we have the pH around 7. So I'm going to stop there. I'm very happy with this result. It's going to be much better for the fish. So this one, I might leave it for a little bit, but I don't want the pH to go too high. So now I will add the fish there. So I will try to show you a bit what I am doing. Okay, so the fish have been in the salt bath for a while now. So I will now add them into the tank. You can see them. I would like to do it in a way that you can see, but it's not really workable, sorry. Sorry. Okay, you can see them now. They're in their sieve. So it's been a bit of a shock for them, but it's okay. They're recovering. So you can see the one on the surface there. That one is not going well. It's got some fungus on it. And the other one swimming there is the other one. The two of them are kind of affected. The rest of the crew seems okay. I'm gonna stop this pH drop, this high pH, because I think the pH is completely acceptable right now. So I'm gonna stop that. I will use this for the large holistic aquaponics. And I will try to show you, we will feed the fish basically together. So this one I will leave it here for now. Looks alright. Here we have our golden trout. They look amazing. Really, they really look good, those fish. I'm doing a simulation of feeding. See if they come. You see they are still interested. Come around. See, they are attracted when I make some vibrations because they want to eat. They want some food. That's always healthy to see that. And now you can see the fish adapted to their new water, and they seem all right. The last thing I probably want to do now is to feed them. So I will put you on the stand and I will I also wanted to show you that I planted, I put my seedlings always here. I am in the shed, you know, in the cob house, under the roof. That is, how we call it, I think it's acrylic or something like this. Anyway, I planted a lot of, what's the name, watercress. And watercress is very nice because in aquaponics in summer it produces extremely well, a lot of food. And it's excellent, very healthy, as well as the concan that we talked about just before. This is spinach water. Anyway, I planted this one because I thought all the ones from last year died during winter. However, going towards the holistic aquaponics system, I just found out that it just grew back. So it was completely unnecessary for me to plant new seeds, but that's not an issue. I will have them and I can offer some around. You can see on the raft there, it's quite hard for me to show you because it's so small, but there at the end of my finger you can see those like 4 leaves. That is watercress that is growing back. And I saw some here as well. There. It's quite hard to do the focus, but yeah, there are a few leaves there. Yep. So that's watercress that is growing back. So it's coming back and I'm very happy because watercress is really a great thing to have in aquaponics. Trout are looking amazing. such as the whole setup. And this one is making a mess with her babies, so I need to put her back in a cage. Yeah, so cute. You see, she is digging into my lawn, which I don't want. So you can't do that, okay? You can't. How cute are they? Okay, I will put her back in the cage. Anyway, that's the end of the fun for them. All right.